Hello, this is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. Please hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Hello, this is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. Please hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Today's video is regarding the audio analysis of the Linda Lane footage that we use from that apartment complex behind 500 Queen Road, specifically by number 52. And it's really interesting footage, but the audio tells a story too that changes things quite a bit. Now, during the making of this video, I thought of something that I hadn't thought of before, so make sure to listen to or watch the entire video so you'll know what I discovered. I thought it was pretty interesting. All right, so let's get started on the video right now. You'll see in the video that, or actually hear in the video, various elements that show you the direction maybe the vehicle was going, perhaps when the DoorDash driver was there and leaving. Also, at the very end, I think you can actually hear the vehicle, the white Elantra, Kohberger's vehicle, driving away at around 4:20, just like they say. So what we're going to do right now is we'll just start playing. I'll move it forward because there's times where there isn't anything to listen to. But I'm going to move it to the portions that I think are relevant. There might be other relevant portions to other people, but these are what I found to be relevant. So we'll start it at 3:29:27. Now remember, the other Linda Lane camera has, I believe, it is 3:29 and 49 seconds. It shows the vehicle driving by, and this camera here picks up the same audio within 3 seconds of that. It's a little earlier, so I don't know if there's 3 seconds off on one camera or the other, but here we go. So see how you can hear that audio right there? And I think if we take a look at the Linda Lane, the other camera on Linda Lane, let's take a look at that. And here it is. Let's play that. You can see down at the bottom is 3:29 and 41 seconds. And then here comes that vehicle, and it's 3:29 and 48 seconds or so, right when it drives by right there. Okay, so that matches up really well. It's 3 seconds difference, but the other camera is just right up the street there, and you can hear the vehicle driving by. All right, so let's go back to this camera. See, we have it at 3:29 and 46 seconds, and maybe it's actually picking up audio from a little farther down the street because of an angle inside of the apartment complex. We don't know. All right, so that's 3:29 and 50 seconds. And let's move it forward. Let's just actually go back to the time. So it's 3:29 and 43 seconds was sort of the peak of that audio. And then if we move it forward, when there's a vehicle that pulls in here, and it's the same vehicle, at 3:30 and 56 seconds. So that was 1 minute and 13 seconds later when the vehicle shows up behind the 1330 Queen Road 500 parking area back there. And there it goes at 3:31:08. Now I have this depicted in an image. So what we're seeing right here is at 3:29 and 43 seconds, it's driving somewhere in this area here, like this. Drives around. Comes on King Road, then Queen Road, and then right as you see the lights of it, it's 3:30 and 56 seconds. So 1 minute and 13 seconds. Now let's get back to the video, the surveillance shots here. So we're going to move it forward to the next significant moment, and that's at 3:34:12. So what's interesting about this is I believe this is the time that Kohberger in the white Elantra was driving away. Now this is exactly what I would always say, is that he likely would do his loop, stop and watch the house for a while, and then drive away. So if we go back to the previous time, it's 3:30 and 56 seconds. So he likely parked at 3:31 and 15 seconds or so, and then he's heard driving down on Taylor Avenue at 3:34 and 12 seconds. So listen. And it's going the other direction. All right, so now let's take a look at that map. So see how it's 3:34 and 16 seconds. You hear it right there. Now look right here. It takes 4 minutes to do this loop right here. And that would put him, if he was driving exactly that pace, at 3:38 right here, 3:38 and 16 seconds right here. But as you can see, it's 50 seconds later, so perhaps he just drove a little bit slower. All right, so this is the loop that you'll be seeing. At 3:34:16, you hear him driving away, so that means he probably sat here for 2 minutes watching, then drove away, and I think, as you see it right here, that's when it's 3:34 and 16 seconds, drives around, comes back, and then makes it back around here at 3:39:05. And here is that. So here's, I have it at 3:39:07 on here, but it was 3:39:05 exactly when the first lights appeared there. And what's interesting about that is we know that the vehicle drove around this way, like this, and came around, because we don't hear it driving by that Linda Lane camera again. All right, so there's this gap in there, and all of a sudden it just sort of shows up from behind here, so likely it came in from this direction, not this way, or we would have heard that same audio as the car, the white Elantra, drove down Taylor Avenue. Right here, see how it came in from behind? If it came this direction, we would have had another audio signature just like we had at 3:34:16 going this direction, but it didn't. So it came in from back this way on Willanta Drive. And as we know from Ann Taylor in the last hearing, right here, right in this location, is where they have a confirmed sighting of Brian Kohberger's white Elantra right here. So that matches exactly this pattern here. Now, we don't know what time that is and whether or not it passed there again, etc. However, they do have a confirmed sighting of it right there, obviously during the time frame between 3:30 and 4:20. Okay, now back to the surveillance. This is the 3:39:23. That's where we left off. And now I'm going to move it forward to the next significant audio signature. And that's at 3:42:49. Now, I think this is when it actually drove away again. I mean, amazingly, it's again around 3 minutes later we hear it, which means he waited a couple minutes again and then drove away. You can hear it, right? I would almost think it's more like the 3:43:04. That seemed like when it got louder. And see right here where it says 3:42:49, that's the vehicle driving by right here again by Linda Lane, going this direction somewhere. Okay, and let's go back to the surveillance footage and move to the next significant moment. And this is 3:55:46. This is likely when the car is coming back. Now, this is an interesting pass and loop, because on this one it appears that after driving by here it drove all the way out here and was somewhere over in this area, and then eventually drove by right here, and at 3:45 there appears to be a surveillance footage shot right here. And here's an image of that vehicle driving by the gas station right here. Boom, boom, boom. It's like a time lapse kind of, but overlaying where the vehicle was. And this looks like it's at 3 3:44 and 57 seconds on that one, and 3:45 and 2 seconds up here. Okay, so I mean, I think you can see the vehicle just slightly right up in there, but you know, there's a vehicle that matches the white Elantra, Kohberger's white Elantra, driving around at 3:44 and 57 seconds. And keep in mind, I'm just assuming some of these audio sounds are the vehicle, even though the timing appears to be correct. All right, so then we've got one at 3:55 when it appears to be coming back. See that? And then based on that, you would assume that around 3:57-ish would be when the car pulls back here based on the timing of the other loops. So let's see when that would be. Look at that, 3:56 and 57 seconds, almost exactly the same as the other loops, just 3 seconds quicker. All right, and then we have that one represented right here. So there's 3:55, you hear it right there, and 46 seconds, and then it comes around, and then at 3:56 and 57 seconds, which is a minute 11, which is just 2 seconds quicker, actually, than the original loop. So it seems like it's really clear that that's the same car driving by, coming back at 3:55:46, coming back, and then at 3:56:57, you see it pull back here. All right, now here's something really interesting, is the DoorDash driver turning, locking his car, and that is at, looks like 3:59:11. Now this might be with the DoorDash driver driving in. Now the vehicle is much lighter sounding, and I'm wondering if he drives like a hybrid, because they're not anywhere near as loud as normal, gas engines. Right, let's see. So you can hear right in here. Let's play that again. So that's the normal sound. So do you hear that right there? That's like the, you can just kind of hear it in the background, and it sounds like it's just a much quieter vehicle. And this is 3:59:17. So let's take a look at that. So there it is, 3:59:11 driving by right here. That's the original when you start hearing the sound. Now look at this. In a minute here, we'll show you that at 3:59:46, all these times you hear the sort of like a beep beep of either a lock of a vehicle or somebody just lightly tapping on their horn to, get somebody's attention. All right, but it goes all the way from 3:59:46 to 4 o'clock and 28 seconds. But interestingly, after the first ones, 51 and then 26, you got 9 plus 26, that'd be 35 seconds for him to walk from his car, go to the door, deliver the meal, and get back to his car, and then unlock it again. All right, so that's what we'll be hearing next, right here. I just moved it forward a little bit, so let's play it. All right, and now there's this gap where you could picture him getting out of his car, walking over to the door, maybe taking a picture of it, and then placing it there, and then walking back to his vehicle, and then we'll hear it beep some more. And there you go, at 4 o'clock and just before 4 a.m. and 30 seconds, it, you hear the beep again. So that's interesting. That feels like that is the DoorDash driver. Now I think I can actually hear that same vehicle driving away. So let's play that part. I'm going to move it forward. Now here it is. It's going to sound faint like the other one. Hear that? I'll even lead into it because you'll hear that just sort of the static sound. I've really tried to fix this audio. I boosted everything up and then removed noise, but it's just so much noise in it. It's hard to get it all out, but here we go. See, there you have it. It sounds like he's driving away right around 4:01 and 14 seconds, which is pretty consistent. He's not as far back here on that narrow little stretch to get back here, so he got into his car and he drove away after he, beeped his horn somehow, either from unlocking it or locking it, etc. And then he drives away back out on Taylor Avenue. So that is 4:01 and, we're right around 4:01 and 10, 11 seconds. Now the next significant moment is at 4:04:54. Now, is this about the time? So you got to look at the time here. This is when we hear the vehicle outside, on the street on Taylor Avenue. We'll hear it here in a second. So let me rewind it just a little bit. Hold on. So I think that's the vehicle coming back into the area. Let's do the timing again. So we go, let's see, 4:04 and 54 seconds. And then 4:05 and 31 seconds. So that one's much quicker. So it's possible that other audio we heard isn't the audio. And then, also something I hadn't thought of. What if the vehicle just stayed parked behind the residence from this time? I hadn't thought of that until just now, but let's go back a little bit here. Hold on. So it's 3:56 and 57 seconds when he comes around here. So that means he would make it behind the residence at 3:57 and like 15 seconds or so. And if he waited around another 2-3 minutes, he may have been there when the DoorDash driver arrived. So he was likely still parked there, sees the DoorDash driver, and maybe he didn't even leave the area on this pass. I hadn't thought of this until just now looking at this, which is pretty crazy. So this is 3:56:57, and he's driving around. And then if we move it forward, this is the audio you can barely hear of the DoorDash driver coming in. It's not even 3 minutes later. It's like 2 minutes and 20 seconds later. Then at 3:59:46, we hear the beep, beep, beep. So Kohberger could possibly be, this is amazing. He's still parked looking through Madison's room, but sort of sees light and activity because it's really easy to see down there. Let's take a look. I'll show you. So if you're up there in a vehicle and a car pulls into here to deliver something, you can see it. All right? Wow, that's crazy. So I think Kohberger was still parked behind the house. If he continued to do the thing where he waits 2 to 3 minutes, sees the light, and then he just sits back there and waits. It's crazy. And then we hear it at 4:01:07 driving away. Now, did Kohberger leave at this point? I don't think so. I almost feel like he parked back behind 1122 King Road. And then at 4:04 up here in 54 seconds, that's when we hear the vehicle again. But this might be just locally where it's right here driving down this road. Let's see. So this is why he knew that there was a DoorDash driver there. And so look at it. 4:05 and 31 seconds, that vehicle comes back here, the white Elantra. And I just think that's amazing, now that you think about it, that he was literally still parked there perhaps while the DoorDash driver showed up. Then the DoorDash driver leaves and he's still waiting and watching there. And then right here we see him as he's pulling back, and he's in his car again, but he hadn't turned left to go in front of the house yet. So when he goes back here, he turns around. Watch. Wow. And then he drives back over there. Now he's checking to see what was going on in the front of the house, see if there's lights on, etc. And so what we have right here is the 4:04:54 seconds. I thought maybe the car was over here, but I think he was still parked right there. So this map isn't really going to be relevant, but he came in like this, I had, and then this direction. So when he comes in right here, like he would have been waiting right back here, right, already from the previous loop. And then he would go like this, he drove, and then right here he turned around to come and check out what was going on. Then he turned around and came back again. But so he goes like this, comes over here, turns around right there at 4:05:31, then comes this direction, tries to turn around or park. He was going to go back up here now, but then he went over here to the 3-point turn, came back around, and then parked for the final time at 4:08. So what's happening on this one is right here at 4:06 and 6 seconds. It makes it back here, and then it goes this direction. So after it turns around in front of Queen Road number 52, which is this white building right here, it drives this direction at 4:06:06. It goes right back here, tries to turn around or park right here, then eventually does a 3-point turn right here, and then heads back this direction, and then at 4:07:29 it comes back here, and you'll hear all of that right now. And I'm just going to fast forward it. So here it comes, after it did the 3-point turn over there. And then I think it parked around 4:08. And then after 4:08, we then know that the vehicle, the white Elantra, was speeding away at a high rate of speed at 4:20. That's what was said in the probable cause document. Now I think I can actually hear that in this video. So at 4:07 and 47 seconds we see on the screen, likely parked at 4:08 and just realized that in between 4:08 and 4:20 a knife sheath was left on Madison Mogan's bed that had Brian Kohberger's DNA on it. A person who owns a white Elantra that's missing its front license plate, which was determined as vehicle number 1, suspect vehicle number 1. All right, so here, look at 4:20 and 5 seconds. Listen to this. Can you hear that? Or was that? It's not as loud because it's blocked by the 500 Queen Road, but I think I can hear it. Watch. And that is right here. The vehicle's leaving, goes this direction, out, and then goes on Elantra Drive, and then heads south, and then his phone pings 28 minutes later near Blaine, Idaho. Okay? But anyways, man, I found that really interesting, and it's crazy because I think it's very possible that Kohberger, after his third pass, never even left the area. He stayed right there. And that's why you don't hear a car that's similar sounding. I thought I could hear it, but it wasn't quite as loud. And so when you think about it, he could have just been waiting back there, and then when he was normally would leave after 2 to 3 minutes, that's when the DoorDash driver showed up. So he waited. He knew that there was somebody over there because there were lights, etc. He heard the beeping sounds, and then eventually he waits and waits and he moves forward. And that's when he started the fourth pass, and then he turns around to go check on it again. He wanted to make sure, he wanted to see what was going on. And maybe around that time he could see that the lights were on in Xana's room, something like that. He tried to turn around or park here. Then that's where he does the 3-point turn and heads back this direction for the last time. And then at 4:08 parks here, goes inside, kills everybody in there, or the 4 individuals that he killed. Then he leaves at a high rate of speed at 4:20 in 5 seconds. You can hear a vehicle moving, and I think that's exactly what that is. All right, so I know that was sort of a long-winded explanation and going over this, but I've been meaning to go over it for a while. I know other YouTubers have gone over it, and this is my take. All right, so thank you all very much for watching. If you could leave me a comment in the comment section, let me know what you think, and I appreciate you being here. So, as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there.